Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, I played a few classical games the last weekend, and I would like to show you an interesting game against a 10-year-old kid. In other sports, you have the choice of an old guy or a kid. You 100% choose the kid, right? In chess, an old guy is like a 25-year-old. You choose the old guy, you don't choose the kid, because they have more information, they can retain more in memory, and they look at the engine, so they know these lines. So let's start with this game. This kid really pissed me off, I'm not going to lie. So e4, I play the Caro-Kann defense, d4, d5, it takes on d5, the exchange variation. Perfect, so we get the 4 knights out. It's all good. Now bishop to e3. I wasn't familiar with this move, bishop to e3, because here you have different options, right? You can play something like this. You can even go for the attack. I don't know. You can play a lot of different moves. Bishop to e3 turns out to be a good move. Okay, bishop to g4, h3, and he's gonna kick out my bishop. I have to retreat it. Okay, bishop to h5, g4, bishop g6. Okay, the game continues. Everything is good. White has here two alternatives. For example, they can push the pawn, g5. They can also get the knight here. That's a good move. Now he plays a slight inaccuracy, bishop to d3. Okay, it's not a big deal either. e6. And here white has to be careful. Let's say they take the pawn, we take, and they move the queen. Here this pawn is hanging. So if they take, the rook will be hanging. So they cannot go for this line. So okay, instead they play, after e6, they play knight to e5. And I also have different options in this position. I can play bishop d6. Best move according to the computer, rook c8. So if the knight takes, I can take back here. There's also a line showing this. This is an interesting line. But okay, doesn't really matter because I took this knight. Here I took the knight. And after this, I was fully expecting him to play f4 after I retreat my knight. But the problem with 10-year-old kids is they have a small bladder. So he had to go to the bathroom. He took this bishop. Okay, I just take back. And now he played queen d2. He was like, I have to go to the bathroom. He was like asking permission. I was like, I don't care, kid, you go. So I took the pawn. He came back from the bathroom. He realized he had lost the pawn. But the game continues. It's not a big deal, right? He castled. And now I play knight to c4. At this point, I had been playing for at least 8 hours. 8 hours of playing chess, classical format. So after he played queen d3, best move is just to get the bishop out. Best move in the position. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this bishop. And now I'm gonna enter into a game where I'm gonna play against the knight. Bishop versus knight has advantage, right? Bishop has advantage. He keeps a check here with the queen. I offer the threat of queens. And the best thing to do was to take. But for some reason, I didn't like this continuation where my pawn is hanging. So even if I play rook c8, I was like, my pawn is hanging. Yeah, the computer is saying, oh, okay, no problem. You can go around it. You can play this. Geometry of chess. And here, it looks like the knight is hanging. So they can play knight b5. And I recover the pawn. I didn't see that far ahead. Instead, I castle. I was like, I'm gonna castle. And at the end of the day, I have 2 plus the king versus 3. And I will try to create something on this side of the board. I have a bunch of pawns here. So, okay. Let's get into it. e4. I also didn't like any of these continuations. I consider d4, for example. If it takes, knight b5, for example. It turns out everything is fine. Don't play e5. I think best move was to go bishop to c5. I still have the advantage. But I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that, if I trade queens here, takes. I was like, my pawn is hanging, but I can just push. So, okay. I couldn't calculate. My brain wasn't working. But it didn't matter. I play the geometry of chess, a collinear move, queen c6, right? I am not going into the direction, I'm going into the direction of the piece, but not all the way down. So if he takes here, I'm happy. I have a bunch of pawns, my pawn structure is good, and I can get my bishop out later. So he doesn't go for that, but it was still funny to play, queen c6. Now e takes on d5, we trade all pieces. We trade all pieces, and at this point he offered me a draw. I was like, no, thank you, but okay, not yet, but thank you. So because I have spent probably 10 minutes of the clock, and he had spent half an hour getting to this position. So the game for me starts just now. Bishop to d6. Okay, get my bishop out. I pursue the knight. c4. And I had this move. I don't know why I didn't play it, but b5, right? And yeah, it can soften up the defense of this pawn. But okay, it's all good. Now c4, bishop to g3. And he offered me the draw again. I was like, yeah, no thank you, because I have the bishop. I have the bishop, you have the knight, and I also have these pawns. He was like, oh, but I can push the pawn. Push the pawn? Like, go ahead. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. So g takes on h5. It takes back. Yeah, imagine that someone offers you the draw. Let's say that you're playing against Garry Kasparov. He will be so offended, right? So insulted. Because he will imagine that he has the bishop pair just like me in this position. He's about to push g6 and win the pawn. And these are passed pawns. This will be passed pawns at some point. So he will murder you and your entire family if you offer him the draws. So I was also insulted. Bishop to e5, avoiding any shenanigans, preventing the knight from coming here. Okay, so knight to b4, check. King d6. And he got into my head. I'm not going to lie. So he pushed the pawn. I guess his idea was takes, here takes, and then it's still completely winning for black. But I didn't like this continuation. I didn't want him to give him, I didn't want to give him the benefit of getting rid of this bishop. So, okay, king to c7. I don't want to repeat moves. The best move is just to go here, but I don't want to repeat it. So I go king d7, b3, g6, h6. And here I made a mistake. The best move in the position is to play rook h7. But, okay, I play king to e6, knight to e3, and the same idea. I have to stop the pawn, but I don't know what I was thinking. So I just was like, okay, it's now or never. I have to push the pawn, f5. And then he blundered the game completely. The idea was this, right? h7. This is the top engine move. Now it's not that clear how I am supposed to get rid of this pawn. And black, I think white has even a slight advantage. It's not clear either, right? So he completely blundered the game. He was like, I'm gonna hit the bishop. And he was kind of blitzing out his moves. And I was calculating a lot. So bishop to f4, check. And now I'm gonna win the pawn. King d3, I win the pawn. And the conversion was a bit sloppy. I can just get rid of the knight here. I don't know why I was asking for trouble. But okay, the game continues. I give a check. I offer the trade of rooks. Rook to a4, another check. And then I trick my opponent, king c6. I don't see a way to continue, right? I don't see a good way to push the pawns here. So I trick him into getting this knight to this side of the board. Knight to d8. King takes on c5, which is a blunder. This is a blunder. He has tactics, but he stopped looking. My opponent stopped looking for tactics. He was just like, okay, I don't know. He was so pissed off. He can take here after I take. Black still has a slight advantage according to the computer, but I don't know. This is not that easy to play, right? King d5. Yeah, he might bring the king around, and it's not that simple to push pawns. He can always sacrifice the knight here. So, okay, but he stopped looking. He stopped looking. He cannot resign mentally. He gives a check. And now the knight needs another 2 moves to get back into the game. Then I push g5. I'm gonna keep pushing g4, knight e8, rook e3, check. King c4, rook f3, offering the trade of rooks. Okay, and he wants to create something on this side of the board. Okay, I just create the bridge. Yeah, he cannot take, sorry, I made a mistake. Knight to e6, g3, knight e4. I get rid of the knight finally. King takes on d4, g2. I keep pushing pawns. It's completely winning. Rook g3, king e5, and he's just making moves, blitzing out. King c5, king takes on a5, king b4, and I'm gonna win the 2 pawns. Okay, he's gonna go after my rook. Rook g7, king f3, king takes on b3. I am happy to trade rooks, and now I'm gonna create a pass pawn, and at this point I can shoulder his king out. I can also push here, but yeah, you want to shoulder out, never let the king in. And now king e3, after a4, this is mate in 17, he resigned on the spot. He resigned on the spot, his parents were there. It was a tough moment, I think. I was also gonna give him advice like, hey, what was this move with the bishop at the beginning? Or probably like, I wouldn't really castle that way, but he might have studied this with the engine lines. It was kind of insane that he castled this way. I mean, that's a possibility. But yeah, I didn't know how to approach him emotionally. He was so disturbed, and he offered the draw to the 3 opponents he played against. So you cannot play for a draw, right? You have to play for a win. I think this is what computers go wrong. They don't calculate human error. So when you're playing in a computer, yeah, maybe this is a complete draw, but you still have to be smart. You have to be the player that is in front of you. Psychology is important. Okay, guys, so that was my thoughts on this game. Don't play against kids if you can avoid it, but if you play, don't be afraid. So because you might have better emotional intelligence. I will see you in the next one, and take care.